you and me sitting down having a conversation. Most people write like they're lecturing, like you're up on stage and you're talking to somebody. I write like it's just you and me sitting down, and we've turned the chairs and we've come in close and you're both leaning forward. It's that urgent whispering. It's that sense. Joe likes that. Another thumbs up on one of the best advent marketing. This is great, Joe. My ego is like exploding here. I followed Joe for my entire career, and it's been a pleasure to be able to hang out with him. That urgent kind of whispering, and we're going to get. I think we have time, and we'll be able to get into. I'm going to put you through some. Exercises. Good. I think I have time to do that. So this idea, most people think that you have to lecture and expound and even argue. How many? This is a trick question. How many people's minds have been changed in the history of the world by argument? You want to take a guess? Upkiss. Nobody's mind gets changed by being argued with. They have to make up their own mind. And a good writer or a good admin, a good salesman knows that. How many people actually absolutely bullied someone into falling in love with them and dating them or marrying them? It doesn't happen. You can go to jail from a,
They make a new decision based on new information. They don't change their minds.
Yeah. That's actually a good way to put it. However you need to get in your head so that you understand this. Basically, most people go around trying to bully people into buying their product. And a savvy marketer, we used to have a saying, we used to talk about how New Yorkers, anybody here from New York? New Yorkers tend to think that they can't be fooled, that they pretty much have seen it all and they're immune to being pitched or anything. They are the easiest ones to pitch. Because you just come in through a side door and they're all bluster and their all defenses are up and you can sneak it in and they will buy. There's a reason why doctors, for example, are the worst, or not the worst, the most common victims of financial scams. It's because they've been to medical school. They cut people open. They're smart. They should know how to figure out money. Number one victim of a financial scam is a medical doctor. There was another point I was going to make, but you guys aren't worthy. Actually, I just forgot it. All right, how many people understand USB? Probably a good part of it. USB basically goes back to Rosser Reeves in the 1950s. How many people watch Mad Men on AMC? It's pretty cool, isn't it? There's two new shows coming. One's called Pan Am, I think, or it's about people playing. There's a third one out. Oh, it's a Buddy Club. It's about in the 50s. Anyway, I think we're going back there because a number of boomers are starting to have severe nostalgia. So we're actually affecting the movies that are coming out and the shows going on TV. USB was started by a man named Rosser Reeves, who you should read, but he basically was talking about cigarette advertising and beer advertising, coming up with a good, unique selling proposition. I got that right, Joe? And what he's talking about is mostly slogans. Less tar, tastes great, things like, what's the classic one? Tastes great, less filling. That would be a good example of a USB. Entrepreneurial marketing, we can't rely on slogans. One of the biggest mistakes you can do is to start to figure out that you're going to copy like Coca-Cola or something for your marketing. And if you have 100 years and $1 billion+ to get your brand name out there, then good on you. Do it. If you don't, then don't be looking at those kind of marketing tactics to use on yourself. Basically, you want to use direct response stuff, and USP is the kind of the basis of this. It's where most of your headlines are going to come from. It's where your basic communication is going to come from. I used to teach copywriting to people, and then I realized there was a lot of resistance to that because people are afraid of the word copyright, so I changed it just to writing. And now I don't even use the word writing. I use sales, create sales messages, and that seems to resonate with people. Because you entrepreneurs are afraid of work. You have all these fears. The underlying basic rule here, of course, and this is number one, I didn't say this, but anybody who is looking at this that has any psychological backing knows that this is all about facing your fears. And as entrepreneurs, all of you have done that to some level. But mostly, if you identify a fear that you have, whether it's public speaking or or trying to sell to somebody. How many people here would like to sell without selling? That's a message that's out there a lot. Grow up. It doesn't happen. That's why the classic salesmanship stuff is so valuable. You don't need to be a used car salesman in a flashy coat and be that guy. You can be the easygoing, regular guy, but you're still going to want to use the basic tactics. Okay. So one of the basic tactics that we use to get it down, and everything becomes easy after you get this USP down. However, I changed it. I've taken liberty, and this is my idea. So instead of USP, instead of unique selling proposition, my way of looking at that is that you want to position yourself in your market, write this down, position yourself in your market uniquely in order to sell. So you're not positioning yourself to be the most liked guy, you're not writing. You're not positioning yourself to be the most looked at blog. You want to sell. The unique part is what trips everybody up. How do you become unique? You don't want to become unique like you don't want to be the biggest asshole in your market, because that won't sell. You don't want to be the guy who is so weird that nobody can deal with him. You don't want to be a lot of things, okay? So within this category, what you want to do and what you don't want to do, figure out what the competition isn't doing and how to slip in there. Okay? How many people don't have this down yet that they feel comfortable that they're maximizing this in their business right now? Be serious. Raise your hand if you're not maximizing this. Okay. That's why this next exercise will become pretty valuable. This exercise we're going to do is a combination of two exercises that I actually do, but I'm going to combine them because you're kind of a hip crowd, so I think you can figure this out. The USP is a combination of what I call the barroom conversation and the elevator pitch. Elevator pitch is pretty interesting. How many people can explain what you do to somebody in the time it takes to go from the 8th floor to the ground floor in an elevator? You don't count. Not very many of you. The barroom conversation, this is pretty cool. You guys want to listen to this and then write it down later. You walk up and you go to a bar. Now, it doesn't have to be a bar. It can be Starbucks or something. But you sit down. Somebody else comes in and sits down right next to you. And he says, not to you, but to the bartender, he says, man, make it a double. I'm having a bad day. And the bartender says, what's the matter, Bob? And Bob then says what his problem is. Now, his problem happens to be what your product or service solves. What do you say to Bob? Everybody here clear on what you would say in that situation? If you think about the reality of the situation, if you turn around and say, wow, I got a great product, you should buy it, what's going to happen? Not good. You have to think about, the guy may think you're crazy. At the first sign that he thinks you're crazy, you're trying to sell something to him, or you're interfering in his day, he's going to leave, or he's going to call the cops, or he's going to shut down. So you have to think about this. It's not different when you're marketing to someone than that face-to-face situation. That's why I like to think about that. You want to get down to the point where he's leaning in and you're leaning forward and you're sharing an urgent whispered conversation. That make sense? I'm going to help you guys get to this. I have to check my notes because Flashman, I think we'll do prizes too. Flashman is my, some of you have met him. David Rabel is a writer from London who happened to be in town here and he agreed to come be a road dog for me. Okay, this is a combination of the elevator pitch, but basically what you want to do is answer this question, which will help you to describe very quickly to someone, either in that barroom conversation or in an elevator pitch. Is it we do? It is? Okay. We do X for blank, even if this. That's not clear to you yet, is it? Basically, you want to explain in a breath, single breath, what we do for this type of person, even if, and it's a worst case scenario. And I believe I have some examples. Would you like to hear a couple of examples?
Yeah.
To break it down in copywriter speak, is we do this benefit hang on a sec. For this group of people, so I'll put G, you guys figure it out. And then this is called the worst case scenario, okay? Let me give just a couple of examples. For example, I help business owners and entrepreneurs create their first killer conversations that bring in the big bucks, even if they flunked English or are scared to death of writing. Okay? Here's one for golfers. We help golfers with huge handicaps to immediately start hitting long, straight, gorgeous tee shots and score so low they win all the money from their buddies, even if you've been slicing, hooking, sculling, hacking, and putting like a baboon your entire life. Want another one? You guys are a lazy crowd. Here's one for a tax accounting business for certain size businesses. One of the most boring subjects on the planet. We help understaffed biz owners grossing $1 to $10 million a year, very specific, to pay the least amount of taxes legally owed each year without adding an extra minute of work to your day, even if your bookkeeping is a total disaster right now. Are you starting to catch on? How about one for overweight people? You guys want to hear that? Yeah. We help overweight people to lose 20 to 40 pounds of body fat within 1 month. I'm making this up. Without ever feeling hungry or deprived or sweaty from exercise. Works faster than any diet you've ever tried. So it works even if you failed at every diet, okay? Okay, real quick, we're going to take 5 minutes and you're going to write down your elevator pitch.